Hey team, in today's video we're going to be going over vacuum maintenance. So just a few basic things. You have the release here to empty out the canister. So one of the most important things to take away from this video is when you're at the client's home, we do empty the canisters either outdoors if we can or in their garage. We don't want to be emptying it out like I am here in the house, and then it releases the dust back into the air of the clean house that you just cleaned. For the sake of the video, I'm doing it here for you guys. There is a drop on the bottom. And then you'll also want to be aware you can flip it upside down and there's a drop on the top. If you look in here, sometimes as you can see right now, even there is hair that gets stuck, so it may need to pull out, especially around here in this filter. I've seen hair get wound up around here, so you always want to make sure to check the top as well. We should be emptying the canister after every house. It's very important not to be taking, again, dust and just allergens from other houses into other houses. So the other thing we do to help with that is there is a vacuum filter in here. Right below the canister, there'll be the thick one first and then the thin one on bottom. So there'll be two filters right beneath the canister that need washing. If you can change them between houses, that's great. At least once a day you need to be changing these out. So I have a nice system set up here in my laundry room where I just have one of these dollar store bins. So every day I just toss my dirty filter right in here, and at the end of the week I rinse them with hot water. Now you can't use any soap or detergents on these. It just needs hot water, and then it needs to be air dried. If it's summertime and it's sunny out, the best thing to do is to put it outside in the sunshine. Otherwise, I would let it dry at least a full 24 hours before putting it back into your vacuum. This is why it's a good thing to do at the end of the week. Otherwise, just make sure you always have a dry one on hand, because if you put it in the vacuum when it's not 100% dry, any dampness in the filters will clog it, and it's just going to not be a good experience for you. Alright, so I'm going to take that filter and just place it back here in my vacuum for demonstration here. I'm going to pull the camera up a little closer so you can see from this point of view. Get that in the light. This is what it's going to look like beneath the filters. There is one more filter here. It can be pulled out here. Okay, so this front panel comes off, and then this pushes down to pull out this filter. Now this is something I would clean once a month, as often as you think about it. This does not need to be done every single day, but this is an extra allergy catch filter, so it's a good thing to be washing this every so often. Like this one definitely needs a wash, you can see here. So I'm just going to pull that one aside and just grab a fresh one. Now these as well, no soaps, no detergents, just hot water, and then completely air dried before we put it back into the vacuum. Sometimes they're a little tricky to click back into place, but they do click in. Pause this, friends. Yeah, I just needed 2 thumbs to click that into place, so don't be afraid to use a little bit of force on them. And then this top sheet goes right back on top. Okay, so then again, you're going to do thin filter on bottom, thick filter on top. Okay, and then your canister clicks right back in. And I'm going to show you a couple more things here. This bottom of the vacuum gets strings and hair wound up pretty frequently. So this is a good thing to do at least once a week. Come in here with some scissors. I have a designated pair of vacuum scissors. And then you're just going to snip along here and then rip it on out. So I can pause the video here and actually show you guys how I do it. So you'll see the bristles, and I usually just like to try and cut alongside the bristles. And once you get a cut, then you can just pull it on out. Just like that. It's pretty easy. You may want to wear gloves. For the sake of the video, I'll just do a couple examples and then I'll come back to do that later. Another thing I want to point on the bottom of the vacuum is there is these. You could use a flathead screwdriver. Honestly, you could just use a butter knife if that's all you got on hand and accessible. If you unscrew all of these, this whole bottom plate will come off, and then you can have better access to the brush roll here. On some of the models, this one does not have it, but some of the models, this top part will have a spot where you can actually flip this open and have better access to the brush roll from the top as well. Okay. Now let's talk about hose maintenance. I made this mistake at the beginning where if the suction from the bottom isn't working, I thought the vacuum was just kind of toast. That was a rookie mistake because I actually found out it could be a hose clog. And most commonly that's what it is. And even if the hose still has some suction, it may still have somewhat of a clog in here, and that could be screwing up the suction from the bottom. So if you're having any kind of suction issues, if you feel like your hose isn't working as good as it should, or the bottom, then the first thing to do is take off the hose. We can detach it completely on this side here. Comes off like so. And then you're going to go ahead and use a drain snake. First things first is check this spot, because this is a nice straight shot. You can stick a broomstick through here. If that's not the case, likely it's in here. And now since this is curved, the broomstick is not going to work, but what you can do is use a drain snake. I always keep them in the storage unit, so if you need to grab one, feel free. But they work really great. Just twist it down in here and yank, and you'll be surprised what you pull out of here. So there's that. One tip I wanted to make sure I put in this video as well is the easiest way to clean this carpet tool when you're on the job, because as you're doing stairs you'll catch a lot of hair on here, is just go ahead and bunch up the hair like this with your fingertips so it's loose, and then take your vacuum hose while it's on and just vacuum this right off. It's super quick. It's the easiest way to keep this nice and clean. All right, thank you for watching.